And now, Congresswoman from Iowa, Marionette Miller-Meeks. She joins me live now. Congresswoman, great to see you, and thank you so much for coming on. So here's a new strategy. It appears that the Democrats will push a discharge petition, which is essentially something that the minority party can do to push this forward for a clean bill, just funding what they want to fund, not funding ICE, taking that part out of it, but essentially pushing forward a clean bill. What do you make of the new strategy put out there? Are you supportive of that?
So now they want to pretend like they want to fund DHS. And this is only because they're getting pushback from TSA agents, air traffic control. Anybody that's flown in the past 2 weeks knows that this has been a problem. The record numbers of employees that are actually retiring or quitting from TSA. And this is a direct result of the Democrats not funding the government over something that has largely resolved and a problem of their own making. So sanctuary cities, local law enforcement not working with ICE agents or Customs and Border Protection to remove violent criminal illegals from their communities. But most importantly, again, this was a problem of the Democrats making. They've created a crisis among the population, and you have ongoing conflict in Iran, and they've created this problem. And now they're seeing the repercussions of that. So they're getting heat from TSA. I can tell you when I go through security in Iowa, the TSA agents thank me because they know we're working to try to get them paid. And even when the 4 years we were in the minority under President Biden, I voted to fund the government because that's the basic job that we have is to fund the government, and especially those services that individuals are utilizing and utilizing on the daily basis. So, not a surprise that morale is low. Customs and Border Protection morale was low through the 4 years of the Biden administration. And now after 2 government shutdowns, it's not a surprise that morale is low among TSA and air traffic controllers. So the Democrats are trying to shift blame, as they always do, to pretend like they're trying to fund the government. This is a problem of the Republicans, but this is a problem of the Democrats. They've had time after time. We have passed twice Department of Homeland Security appropriations bills through the House, and Democrats have repeatedly voted against.
Let me jump in because you're right. Republicans have passed this in the House. It sits with the Senate. If they wanted to pass it, they could. They're trying to go. Democrats are trying to go around it, do it a different way. But the damage is done. I will say, even if you were able to get this, this clean bill, if you will, through to pay TSA, 300 employees or more have already quit. We know that that's been confirmed. The call-outs alone are skyrocketed in places like Houston and Atlanta. They've already put notices out. So maybe this would temporarily get them back in. But ultimately, you do have the ones that stayed in, Congresswoman, these TSA agents, facing eviction, weren't able to pay some bills, still recovering from the 43-day government shutdown prior, and then all to come back and say, okay, well, we'll pay them now. This should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, it should have been done a long time ago. The last government shutdown, I put forth a bill that members of Congress don't get paid if the government is not funded. So we're trying to push that bill through. There's another bill on paying TSA now. Because we support those people that are working and are essential workers. And I'm not sure, policy differences are done at the ballot box. So if you don't like the direction the government is going, you think the policy should be different, then you win at elections. But we won at elections because the Democrats had wide open borders. We had criminal gangs coming into our country, untold numbers of people coming in. And now we found we're also getting federal benefits. We already know what the fraud is like. Another state has now uncovered fraud from immigrants when it comes to welfare funding. So this is a replication of what was happening in Minnesota. Now you had California, now Washington State. And I remember last year we were told there was no fraud in any of these programs. So we need to fund the government. The Democrats need to just vote to fund the bill. The House has already passed twice. It is in the Senate. And so Senator Slotkin can say what she wants to say. They have the ball in their court. They can fund DHS anytime they want to fund DHS, and they need to stop playing games and hurting the American people.
Let me ask you about Secretary Noem being asked to step aside by President Trump, putting up Senator Markwayne Mullin for that position, still to be confirmed by the Senate. Is that someone that you support to lead DHS?
Senator Markwayne Mullin, I worked with him in the House, and my mother happens to be from Oklahoma, so very familiar with his state as well. I think he's going to be an excellent Secretary of Homeland Security. There seems to be a bipartisan praise for him throughout the Senate and throughout the community, so I think he'll do a great job. As the Secretary of Homeland Security, he probably wished he would have gotten a little more notice about it. But no, he's going to do a great job. I've had a lot of conversations with Markwayne Mullin, Senator Mullin, and when he was representative. I would say I don't go work out with him, though.
Yeah, former MMA fighter, definitely can hold his own. I understand that. I just want to end with you, if I can, just on what we've seen from Operation Epic Fury and what this administration has been able to accomplish, what the U.S. military has been able to accomplish as well. We've heard this morning by Israel that a top Iranian official has been taken out. Another leader has been taken out, the leader of the Revolutionary Guard there in Iran, who's responsible for reportedly killing tens of thousands of protesters in that area. That's been taken out. Talk to me about your support of this operation on the ground, or rather not on the ground, but from this tactical way that the military is able to operate.
So I can just tell you, as a military veteran, married to a military veteran, that Iran has been at war with the United States for over 4 decades. And president after president has reiterated very passionately that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But when you continue to say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, but you will allow our military to be humiliated and attacked, allow Americans to be attacked, both throughout the globe. So whether it was Kobar Towers, whether it was the Marine Corps barracks, whether it was the USS Cole, and then you parade military members around and humiliate them and humiliate the West. This is this action should have been taken long ago. And I can understand why presidents are reluctant to have done anything about it, but your words have to have strength behind them. And so taking action, of course it's risky. No president wanted to do this, but it had to be done. We know that Iran was very close to building a nuclear weapon, having nuclear armed warheads. They had already had 60% highly enriched uranium. And it's a very short process from 60% to weapons grade and being armed on a missile. And for those who want to say, and I heard a Democrat representative say, well, they couldn't reach the United States. If they're reaching our allies, and we've already seen the desperation of Iran and what they're doing in the Strait of Hormuz, it certainly puts the United States at risk, and it puts our military at risk and our military bases overseas at risk as well in the that are in the Middle East. So this is an action that had to be taken. I think people need to understand that this is a national security imperative because of how close a proximity. And as I said on January 3rd, when we took out Nicolas Maduro to bring him back to the United States to face criminal charges for which he was indicted, that this would have repercussions in Cuba, Iran, Russia, and China. This also sends a signal to both Russia and China. And so I think they're taking a pause. And you can see that Russia and China has not come to Iran's help, but the bulk of the Middle East is supporting the actions of the United States.
Yes, very interesting that China has not come to the defense of Iran, at least up to this point. Also reported that President Trump delaying his visit with China. And we're following that as well. Congresswoman Marionette Miller-Meeks joining me live. Thank you so much, Congresswoman. Great to see you. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much, and happy St. Patrick's Day to all of our Irish out there.
Same to you. Same to you. You set me up for my tease. Thank you. Markets rallying